If you want to learn a little bit more about the social media,
that would be great.
Because that's another arm of what we do. That we have the build the websites and everything that I was talking about. But Luis is social media coordinator, so using that leveraging that website, I guess, is a better way to say it. And how do we use Facebook for business purposes, Twitter, and there's I don't even know how many networks that are out there anymore.
Okay.
But how do we keep up with and utilize those sorts of tools for your business applications? Because you use to keep up with your buddies, your family, or whatever. But there's a business side of that people use. And I'm sure you're a fan of whatever page, the local pub or whatever it is. But it's like you can learn about that business and what's going on. So as you're driving down the street on your PDA or whatever that you use, you can find out, hey, they've got specials this Friday or whatever it is. So there's some another side of that. So I'll let Luis take that on.
We appreciate it. That was
bet.
great.
And then afterwards, we can give you kind of a quick tour, and if you want to take.
And I am the social media coordinator here for Gray Web Technology and Design. And part of my job is to familiarize and educate our clients, the businesses that we work with, from small to large, on the effective use of social media beyond just posting pictures and the latest party news and what have you. A lot of what's happening right now is businesses are understanding that whereas the Web 1.0 world was one-way communication, we had billboards, television spots, radio spots, newspaper ads, all of that was one-way communication. The Web 2.0 world has actually integrated a lot of communication tools that allow us to now have a two-way conversation with other businesses that are out there. Some of the best models out there with companies that have been humongously successful are companies like Zappos. We've also seen Southwest Airlines, JetBlue. All of these companies have developed and integrated social media into their culture at the offices. And so on top of them just being great at social media, every time that somebody new comes on board, they have a dedicated of like 120 hours of internal training to familiarize everybody with the culture and how social media networks work and what have you. And so a company like Zappos has, I think, almost 400 people on their social networks monitoring something at all times. And they're not always on it, but it's almost like a rotating effort. It's great because in the world of social media, communication is happening very rapidly, very, very rapidly. Almost, I think a lot of us now have this level of immediate expectancy when it comes to communication. So, you text with your buddies, you expect a text back. Before you make a phone call, you leave a voicemail, and they get back to you at some point, because with texting and instant messaging and Twittering, we're used to getting messages very, very quickly. So businesses are trying now to acclimate that mindset into what they're doing. At the same time, still market themselves, market their brand and what they're doing. The way that we look at social media is, it is a form of marketing and advertising, but it's not hard sell. You're not punching them in the face and saying, you gotta buy this. It's more of a relationship marketing. So a lot of us here are fans of drinks, food places, brands of clothing, what have you. And so a lot of them may have Facebook pages. So instead of just saying, hey, come to our biggest sale, 20% off, you're probably getting a lot of conversation in there that may even be off topic, aside from, hey, we have the latest jeans. The conversation builds a level of comfort, and hopefully through that, and by them seeing their videos and their photos and what have you, you're able to bring them into the fold and have them come in and make a purchase. That's ultimately the end goal for any business in social media. Is it's great to be happy and sing kumbaya and hold hands and all that good stuff. Relationships are great, but ultimately it needs to be funneled into some kind of action, whether it's sign up for a newsletter, come in and buy something, order something online. That's ultimately where you're funneling all your efforts. So, for example, this is a Gray Web Facebook page. One of the things about the Facebook pages specifically, and actually this is about true for any network, is it's extremely customizable. A lot of people simply go in there and use the tools that are already set up without really kind of digging deeper. For example, this particular area is coded in HTML. I can set up the look and feel any way I want. It has all of our web profiles on here. It has pictures and Addy Awards. We're up for several Addies in 2010 as well, so we'll see what happens there. Here's our newsletter sign up. I'd love to capture information because that in turn creates our marketing list. It's very easy to do. I want to basically take down as many barriers as possible. And so this also has our latest blog posts. So the one I just wrote was about location-based marketing with items like Foursquare, Gowalla. I don't know if you all use those on your mobile devices, but they're location-based apps on the iPhone. Marketers are using that tremendously to basically push specials out to people as they're going from place to place, whether it's a restaurant or a bar or a clothing place. Each of these location-based networks have what they call a mayoral idea. So the person who's been there the most, they get the title of mayor. Well, they have mayoral specials so that people start fighting for that. So the more people go and do something, the more, I mean, obviously the business is making money, but it also works out to the benefit, because if you're a mayor, you make it a very specific special. So, you know, we do a lot of blog posts about that. We have information, we have videos that we've done, and of course, anytime I bookmark something that I think is really interesting news, we also share that through Delicious Bookmarks, which is a social bookmarking site. So I pull that information in, and you know, this is just kind of the fall-in place for everything that we do. Otherwise, the rest of the Facebook page looks pretty much like any other Facebook page. You know, we're going to be at South by Southwest. I put you guys for coming in today. You know, we have photos of all kinds of stuff, from the presentations that I do as a public speaker, awards. We do a lot of community service. We did some team building during the holidays where we went out to Dave & Buster's and, you know, just had a good time. So the idea is to basically take down the walls of your business and have a human presence. The idea of fortifying yourselves and not releasing information kind of makes people not trust you. I'm sure there's a lot of companies out there that you kind of wary of. I mean, and then some industries alone lend themselves to not being, you know, comforting, like insurance companies, law firms. So you kind of get that vibe. There's a lot of law firms on social media who are actually trying to open themselves up and say, look, we're people too. So the lawyers, they may not post pictures of their families, but then they post candid pictures of them doing stuff in the office, maybe a luncheon. There's lots of things that these law firms are doing. H&R Block is a company that you probably would not think of as somebody that you want to communicate with. But H&R Block did a humongous social media campaign last year in 2009, and of course their end goal was to ramp up the number of people using their services. But ultimately, they built a lot of really good relationships with their videos and their blog posts, not just talking about the company, but talking about information within the industry. So they became a thought leader when it came to doing taxes. And you have all of these companies out there vying for, hey, come do your taxes here, come do your taxes here. But H&R Block really developed themselves in the social space as the go-to people. Well, they saw humongous increases in their usage, or the people using the online services and people walking in the door. So there was an immediate ROI on their efforts in the social space. We've also seen companies get hit pretty hard by not being honest in the social space. Titleist Golf, the golf company, Walmart, and Domino's Pizza are three companies that have taken some serious falls in social media simply because they went out there and tried to be traditional media. They tried to billboard it, they tried to bait and switch and kind of, you know, throw some curveballs at you on their specials. And what happened is, when people realized that, what the companies didn't understand is, with all of us having access to these tools, we are all our own citizen journalists.